All right, what's up everyone? Welcome back to yet another video. In this video, we're going to be doing our weekly analysis as per usual, looking at some of our favorite pairs and what we're going to be anticipating for the end of the week. This past week has been a slow one for me. I've been a little bit under the weather with a cold, so took very few trades and just tried to stay out of the market and, recover health-wise. But next week, I think things should be a bit better. In our analysis this week, we're just going to be starting with the dollar index. We've been pretty bearish on the dollar index for quite some time, just breaking those lower lows and creating some new lower highs as we've been moving on to the downside. Our recent break was around the 97.625 area. We've seen a nice push and break of momentum to the upside. A nice reversal. We've come into this supply. So what I'll be looking for at least is for this supply to be liquidated or to fail, because we seem to have taken out some liquidity down here. And that might be a clear sign that we might be starting to move bullish. What I'd be looking for is a confirmation. So looking for this to possibly be a sweep of that zone, sweep of that supply. Price comes back into this 98.214, so break and retest, and then we can push on up to the upside, maybe get up to the 99 or 100 price point, because I'm still pretty bullish on dollar, and I think that it might start recovering as we see price moving on up to the upside. So since we're bullish on the dollar, looking at some of the other pairs, we're going to be starting with euro dollar. So euro USD, we've been pretty bullish for quite some time. Again, we've broken some big swing structure on the daily time frame, so then we can anticipate a swing pullback. We did see an internal pullback here, and then a continued break to the upside. We did catch some good sell trades last week, somewhere around here, and now we're seeing price correctively push to the downside. So what I'd be looking for this week is for price to break below the 1.16 price point, and then we can continue to the downside as we get into the 1.45 and then come to maybe 1.2s, 1.3s. I think that's what would be of interest for me if we continue with that deep pullback into the week. We can see that price has been mitigating, creating lower lows and lower highs, lower lows and lower highs, lower lows and lower highs, mitigating a lot of those, a lot of that structure as we proceed down. We can see here that there is a big imbalance. So I think price should be coming back to mitigate some of those imbalances, mitigate some of our demand zones. Right there, we can see that we've broken that demand zone, pretty much failed. Price pulled back into a nice area of supply that caused that fail or that break of demand, and now we are continuing to push down. What I'd be looking for from an intraday perspective is continuation sells. Continuation sells, I mean, this is a very nice point to be continuing to sell as we pick up momentum to the downside. However, we do know that internal is bullish, so we can be wary for a pullback. I think since we've already mitigated some of this demand here, we can anticipate a pullback, maybe come back and liquidate some of these highs, and then get that big sell-off to the downside. However, in general, we are bearish on euro dollar or euro USD. Looking at our next pair, USD JPY, we've been bullish for quite some time. We have been waiting for, let's see, we have broken significant structure. We have been creating consistent breaks of structure, as you can see there. Price action has been bullish. We are pretty bullish on the dollar as well, so we'd be looking for price to, let's see, yeah, we have reacted off of that zone. We came back, mitigated some more demands, and then we are now pushing to the upside. I'd want to see that price, that point fail, and then we get to use some of this liquidity sitting up here. So then this is the final zone that we want to see kind of hold. What I'd be interested in is for price to come up here, price to come up, liquidate some of that, and then hold, then give me that deep pullback as we've just broken that structure, and then we continue seeing that pullback to the downside. Once we get into discount zones, then I'd be interested in now looking for those big swing buys to the upside as we break structure, and then maybe price would come back into this 1.55, 1.54 area for continuation of those buys. Right, so still bullish on USD JPY, just looking for some nice sells to play out during the week, and then we can now look for continuation buys since our order flow is bullish. If we do come back to maybe the 143 area, I think that would be really, really good, because then that would be our deep demand or deep pullback. It'd be interesting to see. USD CAD at the moment, let's see, we're kind of moving sideways, really not doing much. What I'd want to see is a clear break to the upside. If we don't break to the upside, then I'd be looking for price to come into that extreme, then maybe look for those buys, or if it comes to that extreme, look for some sells. We just want to be on the extreme of the ranges, but as of now, nothing too exciting on USD CAD. Internal order flow seems to be bullish, slowly, correctively bullish. That just means we do have some liquidity there, so maybe price would want to continue pushing to the upside, liquidate some of those positions, and then maybe that extreme holds as we get a good risk to reward trade from that zone up there, from the extreme at 1.384. I'd also maybe be looking for extreme buys at the 1.357 range. But as of now, I don't want to be in the middle over here because that's where price is just a bit choppy and a lot of indecision. I don't feel like being stopped out of trades prematurely. Looking at pound dollar, which is GBP USD, let's say we've been pretty bullish for quite some time. Again, we're corrective, which is nice. After that big swing break of structure on the 4-hour, we got our internal choke. Price came back and mitigated that supply, then pushed down. We came back up, took out some liquidity, came back down, and then a nice big sell-off happened last week. As we came into this demand, we wanted to see a price reaction off of that demand, which we are kind of seeing. What I'd be interested in looking at is seeing price maybe pull back into that supply that caused that break of structure, and then we can now look for continuation sells. So looking for quick scalps to the upside, and then long-term holds to the downside, maybe coming back into that 1.32 or 1.31 area is what I'd be looking for. As of now, we are seeing some preliminary reactions off of this zone, which is good. I think on the lower time frame, maybe we can now start looking for, I think we've had that change of character and a shift. We did see that big liquidation, so we want to see what suppliers would do with that. If we fail to break down here, we can now start looking for confirmation or double confirmation entries to the upside, get those buys to sells. I think would be interesting as we come and break this week low, as internal structure or internal order flow is pretty much bearish. AUD USD, let's see. Yeah, I've pretty much stayed out of this completely. What I'm still looking for is for price to maybe get to this 0.662 price point, and then probably I can look for some shorts and a reversal. But as of now, it's just very choppy, very indecisive. Slow corrections to the upside, which is not what we want to be seeing. We want to see that impulse break to the upside and then a correction to the downside, which we'll be trying to catch. But as of now, nothing too exciting on AUD USD. Same for USD, NZD USD. USD CAD, let's see, USD CAD, right. Yeah, I think we've touched on USD CAD. Pretty sideways movement, nothing too exciting there. GBP JPY, pretty bullish at the moment. Order flow has been bullish, high highs and higher lows, which is good. We want to follow that order flow. However, what has happened is we've hit this very interesting 199 or 200 psychological level, a pretty big level of resistance. So what we want to see is for price to be very decisive and break to the upside, which we possibly could see playing out this week. However, we came into that zone, mitigated, and then now we've just been moving sideways as of the 4-hour time frame. So price came back, mitigated that range down there, and then pushed to the upside. However, failed to break structure to the upside. So I think we're still in that pretty sideways range. What I'd be interested in looking at is a clear break to the upside, then tentatively look for pullbacks into that zone and then continuations to the upside. If we don't see that, then price might come back down to maybe the 197 area. Then we can now start looking for those continuation buys, because we do know that break could be a big impulse move to the upside. So that is kind of what I'm looking at for GJ. Currently sitting on my hands, doing nothing, just watching price play out, waiting for that structural break to the upside, and then that would be of interest to me. Gold as well, still pretty bullish as of now, but we've been ranging. I think we've been bullish for quite some time. We've been ranging. I'll give you a very interesting story about what I've been doing this week, just testing out some signals this week from a very prominent Forex trader. And I'll, I have some findings of my own, and I'll keep on advising you to stay away from signals, save your money, and just find someone to teach you how to trade and pay them, and you will learn how to trade. Because signals are a whole other monster that you don't want to be dealing with, and you lose a lot of money paying for the signals. You'll also lose a lot of money actually taking those trades with your live account. So don't do it. Now, for gold, we've been, we had this big rally to the upside. We had a significant break over there. However, what we saw is price came back, liquidated those buyers and early sellers as well, and then just corrected to the downside all the way to the 3,300 level, and then we can see a reaction off of that zone, and price has moved on up to the upside. Now, what I can say that I'm looking for is for price to possibly give me another nice correction to the downside. The beauty about gold is that it moves when it moves. So maybe come back to that 3,200 level, and then now I can start looking for those big buys to the upside, or that 3,160, 3,140 price level is where I'd be interested in getting in on the buys. However, as of now, we just seem to be moving sideways with no clear intention of what gold wants to do. And that's where a lot of wins and a lot of losses tend to happen around some of these ranges. So I'll be staying on the extreme of those zones, waiting for those continuations, because I know that when we start rallying to the upside, going for those all-time highs, maybe 3,400s, 3,500s, that will be a big push, big push and big impulsive move by gold. As of now, I think due to the correction of the dollar and the strengthening, I think we can see a bit more corrective price action from gold. BTC or Bitcoin, we have been anticipating the pullbacks. We can see that we did pull back. We have caused an internal break, which is good, a clear sign that the pullback might be starting. What I'd be interested in looking at is seeing if we can get maybe some correction there, and then mitigation of that supply, and then we continue to the downside. Or we can see, I think there might be a reaction off of that price point, 117, and then maybe a reaction off of there, and then a continuation. Who knows what's going to happen? However, we'd still be looking for maybe a deeper pullback, anticipating for that or hoping for it. Maybe come back into that 112 flip zone, and then we can now look for those aggressive entries and target those highs of 123, maybe 125. I think the last one would be GBP JPY, which is pound yen. Nothing too exciting here. I think we had a big sell-off last week, which was fantastic, pretty bearish on the pound. We have come into this extreme. Would have been interested in taking buys from that extreme level right there. As of last week, maybe on an intraday perspective, that was on Thursday. We can see prices now being a bit corrective as of Friday close. What I'd be interested in seeing is if we continue this bullish momentum, we can see that the PBL here, price before liquidation, has been liquidated and has failed. So demand has done its job. Let's wait and see how price reacts here. Then maybe, just maybe, we can look for those pullbacks to the upside from an internal perspective, because again, we are on that extreme that did cause a break of structure to the upside. So, it's one of those high probability areas that we want to see hold if momentum is to continue to the upside. If not, this is just a reaction point, and then because internal structure and order flow is bearish, then we can just that would just be a price reaction. Remember, demand and supply and demand. So now these demand zones on the internal we just become reaction points for the pullbacks, and then we continue on to the downside. What I'd be interested in if that happens is maybe a liquidation of these lows. Once we take that liquidity, I can look for quick reactions or reversals to the upside from an intraday perspective, just because I know that price would react off of this very strong liquidity that is at 1.83 price level, and then maybe a big push to the 1.84, 1.85, and then now we continue to the downside because swing structure will have shifted bearish at that point in time. All right, guys, I think that is it from my end. The very last thing I think we should look at is what news do we have, and then I can give you a sneak peek of some of the works that I have in store for you. Very big announcements, very interesting stuff, I think, lined up on all ends. Let's see. Monday, nothing much happening on Monday, so it should be a pretty okay day. Wednesday, nothing crazy. But on Thursday and Friday, we do have some big news, especially for the euro. We also do have big news for the dollar PMI on Thursday, 4:45 East African time. Mad stuff, which is 9:45 New York Open. Friday, again, we also have retail sales, which is quite good. Nothing too crazy, I can say, from that end. So looks like it's going to be a pretty interesting week, I think, for the euro, particularly is where we do have a lot of red folder news. Unemployment claims is also on Thursday. So Thursday, PMI and unemployment, we should anticipate some big moves on those particular days. Now, very last thing I want to bring to your attention, I think it's been 2.5 months of putting together a nice comprehensive course for you guys. A lot of requests have come in for beginners, but also intermediates are there. If you're also stuck in your 9 to 5, maybe you're a millennial, you've been working your ass off for the past decade, and you feel like you're in this loop, stuck, because salaries do have a cap, but inflation and inflation rates wait for nobody. KRA is also on your ass. You gotta pay taxes year on year, and prices in Kenya, especially for oil, just went up. So expect inflation to also go up. If you're looking for an extra source of income or something that has no limit, the limit is you and the amount of time and effort you put in. This is one of the industries where I know that the effort that you put in is matched by the output. So if you do put in the effort, you will make the money, as compared to your traditional 9 to 5 jobs where you can put in a lot of effort, but that is not capped, not reflecting in your salaries. So now I've put together this mastery course on Forex, takes you from beginner to advanced. So if you are interested in taking this course, do reach out to us. You can WhatsApp me or call me. My number will be down below, or you can join our Telegram, or just send me an inbox. I have been through quite a bit. As of 2023, early 2024, I lost almost everything, more than $5,000 collectively. Some through scammers, some through mentors who make big promises but never show up. And also the other ones is through experimenting and trying to trade myself with very little knowledge, and that is gambling. So you lose. I lost everything. And then I decided to start from scratch. And I said, okay, instead of wasting time looking for guys here, because you pay someone and they, that give you the bare minimum, let me look for people who have a proven track record and who are giving you value for your money. So I paid, ended up paying premium, look for mentors in Dubai and the UK. found ZM Capital, and he's been great so far. Changed the way I look at the markets, gave me everything I needed in terms of time and just guidance, and that basically has just changed my life completely. So if you're interested in some of those nuggets, I paid a lot of money to get that mentorship. However, my mission, I think, because listen, I've been in the corporate space for quite some time. I've done it, I've seen it all, and I know that there's a lot more people who are stuck there. But also there are a lot of people who might not want to get into that space, right? So find another alternative, be your own boss, start your own business. This is one of the businesses you can start. And in the next 5-10 years, I'm sure you will not regret it. So my mission is to help as many people get to understand this, get access to this, get access to value for their money, right? Not just pay for something and not get value for your money, and end up being frustrated and looking to pay. This is the end-all, be-all, right? If you pay for this one, you don't have to pay for another one. The only limitation is you. If you did like this video, give it a like, give it a share, give it a thumbs up, and see you on the next one. If you haven't joined our Telegram community, please do so. Link will be down below, and I'll be seeing you soon. Cheers.